Hey everybody, I'm Morgan.
And this is Ryan.
And we're talking chitty. Okay. So we're here with Dr. Dave Heitmann with we actually met him with through Skoolie, through just being an actual Skoolie person. How you doing today?
Not too bad. We met the Skoolie bus life and a couple other things as well. Kind of all things colliding.
It is, yeah. It's been awesome having you kind of like in our life as a reference, really. You've given us some really great tips and stuff here in the last year, I think. Right?
Yeah, very cool. And it's been fun watching you guys too.
Nice. Well, so tell me about yourself, Dave. Like, how did you get into what you do, and what is it that you do?
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's see. How do I want to start this complicated web?
How do I unpack this?
I like long walks on the beach, and so so we were talking right before we started recording.
Yeah.
Is how did we get into Skoolie world?
Yeah.
And I think that would be a great starting point for everyone.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
Just because it's a fun, invigorating conversation.
Absolutely.
And I think you guys went through a similar process of the enlightenment process.
Sure.
And we had been, so I'm a chiropractor, and I had owned a large sports medicine practice. And we were rocking and rolling, and I built what I called at the time the empire.
Nice.
I was the medical director for 12 different sports teams. I was contracted with a large hospital system. At one point, I had 2 different locations and like 12 different employees, and just running around nonstop.
Yeah,
and
it sounds busy.
It was very busy, and what came out of it actually was the exact opposite of what everyone talks about with the American dream. So in my profession, we talk about getting the big office and talking about our numbers, and I had over 4,700 patients.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
So it's like it was record breaking, in my industry, and very proud. But what happened was, and it's funny, I was talking about this today. I was reading a really good book for people out there who might be interested in some philosophy that can help people.
Oh, absolutely.
Stoic philosophy, and an author by the name of Ryon Holiday.
Ryan.
He's got 2 good books out there. Ego is the enemy, and The Obstacle is the way.
Ego is the enemy, and obstacle is the way.
I might want to read Ego is the
Yeah.
enemy. That one sounds
Okay.
good.
And the ego is the enemy one kind of puts this whole story into perspective for me, and that's why I was talking about it today with someone else. But this big office American dream, I ended up just hating it.
Oh.
And I had severe depression. I had severe health issues. It just was exactly the opposite of what you think about, you hear about, and you dream about.
When you finally make it.
Yeah, you made it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so I had started to get to the point where I was in such a negative loop where I was working, 8 to 10 hours a day, and then I would come home and sit and just watch Netflix and eat popcorn and have a few beers.
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, and it was totally from the standpoint of trying to numb my brain, because I was like so overstimulated and overworked, and my head was spinning all the time. I didn't know which way to turn. And so my wife and I actually got latched onto like cooking shows and tiny home living, and we're like started the whole dream of like, wouldn't it be nice to live simply? Like,
right. And you start unwrapping that, and you're like, it's not that difficult when you really think about it.
Right.
And so it was a long process. Not gonna lie, it definitely, 2 to 3 years of slowly getting into like those tiny home documentaries and those shows, and then we started doing permaculture and food forest and looking at where our food comes from. And then we got latched onto a discussion group in my town that was actually all about voluntary simplicity. And it went over all the different types of concepts of like is recycling good or is it bad? Is it, do electric cars really work? If you have to dig up lithium out of the earth, like those types of things.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another. My health kept getting worse, and I ended up getting stress fractures and breaking my bones literally while I was working on people.
Wow.
And we just said enough was enough, and we sold everything off, and we ended up, because I was in so much debt from living the American dream, that we didn't have anything left to our name other than $4,000.
Sure.
And
Oh my gosh, yeah.
we were looking at ways to do like the RV living.
Mm-hmm.
And what we ended up coming across time and time again was these crazy ass school people in school buses. And we're like, well, that's interesting. And so I think it was about like a 5-year process to get to this point. And suddenly within 3 months, I think we had made the decision of like, we discovered the school bus, schoolie culture, decided that we were going to buy one, and we ended up buying one.
Let's get crazy. Yeah.
Why not, right?
It was a quick transition, but it felt natural because, all of the prep work that we had done, we had already gone through almost a year of garage sales, selling our stuff off, and just different things that way to try to start living minimalistic.
Yeah.
And, so we closed down the office, and I built out the bus in 3 months, and it wasn't a build out. it was stripped down, and I had to put sheet metal on the floors because you could reach through the floor and touch the tires. And it was a good old Wisconsin bus.
Oh, man.
Salts on the road. Gotcha.
Yep. Good and rusty and all of that, but the engine was great, and all of the other bits and pieces that way were great. So
that's good.
We basically gutted it, put a floor in, and it was just the OSB floor, and then literally just piled our crap in there and hit the road. And it was hilarious because we kind of like nestled in. So there's 4 of us. We had 2 little girls. Oh. And we literally piled in, and it was just about to start snowing. So this was actually almost a year ago. November 17th is when we hit the road.
Oh, wow.
And we drove straight down to Texas because we figured, what the heck, that probably sounds like it would be the warmest.
Right.
So that was your intro to bus life. You guys just getting in and going, like balls to the wall. We're doing it. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And we hadn't researched bus life all that much. I mean, we researched tiny homes, but so that was the start of the journey. And then it was building out the bus and doing all that stuff and coming across all sorts of cool people like your guys, like yourself.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's so
cool,
right. Man. So
and here we are on a podcast talking chitty.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
You actually brought something up earlier when you talked about that American dream that everybody dreams up, that perfect house, the mini McMansion, the 1-2 cars, it's all materialistic stuff, and it is an expensive way to live your life. And you wake up in this nice house and you think, oh man, look at my house. But it's not really yours. Like you said, you were able to walk away from all of that and you only had $4,000 in your pocket. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think more people need to start waking up to that realization of, I really don't own anything. And if you do own it, great. Good for you. Keep doing that. Yeah. Keep paying off your debts, making sure that you have, things in your corner.
Yeah.
But
most
people don't.
It's funny. That book, I mean, there's all sorts of great books on that type of topic. The one that's just relevant to me is that Ego is the Enemy. I think you guys would really like that.
Oh, for sure.
Just getting into the whole aspect of if we don't enjoy the journey, we're chasing something that isn't real.
Absolutely.
And,
that's true.
Our main priorities, like the reason why we chose bus life is because the awakening that we had was like, our health is the most important, and our family is the most important, and money is definitely not on that list.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I get you. Because you know what? Money is everywhere.
Yeah, money's easy to make.
If you want it, you can get it. But, if you just get what you need and you appreciate what you have, even if it's nothing but your family,
Yep.
That's all you really need, you know. And I know money can't or love can't pay the bills. I disagree, because we've been pretty broke in our life.
Sure.
And I'm going to tell
Early
you,
on.
the only thing that got us through it was each other.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
being able to go through it with somebody else. And I think it's badass that Ashley was just like, let's fucking get a bus and like go.
Yeah.
So many women would not do
yeah,
it.
it was 100%. We were in the same boat. We were in 100% alignment. We have great communication back and forth.
Yeah.
And then, you know, kids are kids.
Yeah.
Their reality is whatever you make their reality.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. You hear a lot of parents, you know, oh, I wouldn't pull little Johnny out because, you know, he's in this grade, he's got these friends, or little Johnny, he's on the football team and we got all these big plans for him. And they blame their kids for why they are not just living their life, enjoying their life. And because if you're not enjoying your life, I guarantee it, your kids aren't enjoying that.
Yep.
No. Like you guys, you know, I'm sure when you guys argue or whatever, if you're not in a good place, I'm sure your kids, it's like a ripple effect, you know, and then everybody kind of starts getting onto each other's nerves. And I know that's how it is here. Like I'll notice if Ryan and I aren't really getting along, that our kids are like arguing like 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's an energy that everybody feels. And I think you guys are kind of like a lot of people that are interested in getting into like tiny living or just minimally or just downsizing things that you have, because it's so much better when you own it and you know it's yours, you know.
Right.
And I think people think they just need a space to fill up with stuff, you know, just, oh, it looks empty, so let's put something in the corner, let's add this. And I don't know if you guys noticed, like, did it feel like addicting when y'all were selling all of your stuff? Like you're kind of like this weight just kind of coming off of you, like when you sold everything, or?
It was extremely relieving for us. And I mean, we were going through the situation. We had to declare bankruptcy. So there was, and it was a specific choice. So one, it was like, our attorneys and accountants were like, why didn't you do this a long time ago?
Right.
But
really, it would have been better to do it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were holding on to the American dream, saying that, hey, we're going to double down and we're going to do this, and this, and this, and you know, and chasing. We were basically just chasing debt, and even though I had all of this success, it costs a lot. I mean, I was in a 6,500 square foot office, and you know, there's all sorts of crazy costs with that. Like just the overhead of the space was $10,000 a month, and you know, so it costs so much to get there. By the time we declared bankruptcy, we were already in the mindset that we had fully embraced minimalism, and so getting rid of the stuff and going through bankruptcy was actually, I don't want to call it pleasurable by any means, because it's definitely, but it was like, there would be nights where Ash and I would just sit down and cry together on, you know, that whole weird mixed emotion of like relief and grief and like reflection and all of those sorts of things. Like you could finally feel like we could start to move forward, and you know, so selling things off and doing those sorts of things, and you find crap that you're like got from your wedding that you didn't even know you had.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just like, oh my God, why do I have all of this stuff?
I love how honest you're being.
Yeah,
I love that.
Do too.
Yeah. Well,
because there's no shame in any of this.
Yeah. It's part of my healing process. I realized, you know, post-bankruptcy, that the previous few years of my life I had become secluded, and I'm a very outgoing type of person. And so a switch had flipped, that I really wanted to start sharing this message with the world, because a lot of my colleagues and people think of doctors as being these, you know, big, rich, money-making schemes. And
the 1%ers.
The reality is most doctors are actually pretty poor, and you know, my student loans were $250,000, and I could never pay a full month payment because I would have to do my monthly payment was like $3,000 a month if I wanted to pay in full. You know, and people don't realize that, and so it just was very therapeutic for me to start talking about these and sharing with my colleagues and sharing my experiences to make sure that no one else goes down that path. And I felt it like as a responsibility. So I got very used to and comfortable talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Purely because, people need to hear it.
You could tell you have your ego in check.
Yeah,
that's
that book
great.
must have
been... I'm working on it.
No, that's great.
Working on it.
I think it helps. I mean, it really helps people whenever, people can just admit their failures, I think, because,
people are so afraid to fail, and I truly believe fail early, fail often. Yeah. You have to fail. If you're not failing, you're not learning.
Yeah, really. And I think here's the thing too, is learning from those failures, because a lot of people will do the same thing.
And they just keep failing on the same thing.
It's like insanity, but I feel you when whenever you said, like, with your bankruptcy and stuff, you had said that it was very it was like therapeutic talking about it, or you said it wasn't pleasurable, but because I feel like after a house fire, it was kind of like, it was like a bittersweet.
Sure, absolutely.
I say it's the best garage sale we ever had, and obviously it was awful. Like nobody should ever have to go through that, but
it really was the best yard sale we ever had.
Yeah,
we never would have gotten or checked ourselves, and gotten into the bus life. I probably would have kept working my corporate job and kept buying more crap and spent more time away from my kids and.
Right.
Yeah, you got to have the enlightenment, and
you do.
Unfortunately, it takes a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It takes the fire, it takes the bankruptcy, it takes the death in the family, it takes a cancer diagnosis.
There is that catalyst always. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
That's true.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, and I would say too, like there's the misrepresentation of failure that. How failure is so bad. I mean, I grew up in the atmosphere of, you don't ever talk about your finances, and you don't ever show your struggles, and you just keep your head down and you work really hard. Yeah. And if you're in trouble, you just need to keep working it out.
Yeah, you suck it up, work harder.
That is so true.
Work longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so people have such a false perspective of what failure actually means, that the only failure would be is if I was still sitting sulking,
doing the
wondering
same
where
thing.
my life had gone.
Right.
And not done anything about it.
And
still sitting there.
Your kids growing up without you,
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, and it's funny too, the other thing, talking about ego in check, that the other side of the coin too is, it would have been really easy for me to turn around and just open up another chiropractic office somewhere.
Absolutely.
The hard thing was actually going and living in poverty in the bus.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
That was the harder decision, like the conscious decision to not just jump back into the same routine and the same thing.
Sure.
Yes.
To actually move onto the bus. We had no income, we had no job. I was loosely coaching a couple of athletes, online, and we used that as like my little bit of cash flow. But we purposely didn't take on clients. We purposely, at first, didn't try to make any money other than just to make ends meet. And we didn't put electricity in the bus. We didn't put running water in the bus.
Wow.
We really just wanted to experience everything. So when we went to Skooliepalooza, we were living out in the desert by candlelight, and no electricity and no running water, just jugs of water and candlelight.
That's awesome.
Freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was the most amazing experience our family has ever had, for sure.
I'd imagine.
Yep.
Wow. I did not know that.
No, I didn't.
I didn't know that you didn't have running water, electrical. You were using
candlelight. So yep, we had $4,000. The bus cost $3,000. So you start to do the math, and it's like, well, I'm not really going to put electrical and plumbing in.
How much gas?
This costs money.
Yeah, and we just, it was one of those things where we had already made the intent to try to not play the game of money.
Sure.
So we made the conscious decision to live that way, and really just, we still wanted to buy decent food.
Right.
And so that's where we put our money is just the travel to get down to the experience that we wanted to experience and the food that we wanted to eat so that we could start healing our bodies properly.
Nice.
So you literally reset your life is what you did.
You did.
You hit the reset
we
button.
reset in every fashion. Yep.
You did a life edit.
Yeah, that's a
You
life
edited
edit.
your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we started, and it's funny because here I am, like, the top of sports medicine doctors and teaching people how to work out, and I never worked out myself because I was working from 6:30 in the morning till 11 at night every day, and just so overrun and run down and chronic fatigue issues and all of that stuff. So I mean, just simply getting back into walking every day,
right,
and enjoying the sun, getting out and enjoying the sun. We learned how to forage food, which was a super fun experience. All sorts of beneficial gut bacteria and all sorts of healthy benefits of
I
that.
bet.
Nice. Morgan and I want to learn how to do that.
Yeah, you have to. And it's part of, I think it's something that everyone should every area has something that's edible.
Yeah.
You just can't go to like a local government park because they spray it with all sorts of crap.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. You can't go in the ditch. You can't go to any parks or anything like that. You have to get out into the actual woods.
Okay.
Because otherwise they spray Roundup on it, and it's just not good.
That's cancer for sure.
Sucks.
Yep. But when you eat plants like that, you replenish the microbiome. So the little critters that live in your digestive tract that are responsible for a majority of like your neurotransmitters, so your feel-good chemistry that goes into your brain.
Okay.
All of the digestion of your food, what it breaks it down is essentially the critters in there.
Huh.
And most people, I would say 99% of people in America, have a defective tract because we all eat the same things and everything's pasteurized and there's no bugs anywhere, and we have a really lacking gut health system, which is one of the root problems of a lot of chronic pain problems.
Really?
So foraging and getting sun and diversity of your food are one of the best ways to replenish that.
That's, my friend suffers from Crohn's disease, and I've always looked into just anything that I think would help. I'm definitely going to let her know to listen to because that's really good information.
Do you have any good books on that?
Yeah,
on your gut health?
Yeah.
As far as foraging or gut health?
Or both.
Well, for both. Yeah. Does it just matter what you eat? It's just anything that you eat out in the woods that is edible is good for your gut health?
Yeah, exactly. Because so nature has its best. Like even if you plant your own garden in your backyard, say you have the little urban garden and it's just sitting on your patio in the back.
Okay.
If you don't wash that like leafy piece of lettuce and you just kind of like rub the dirt off to get the like crunchies off, that has massive benefits compared to washing it.
Wow.
And like if you go to the store, they actually use chemicals to wash that stuff a lot of times.
Okay.
And so that kills off a lot of the beneficial bacteria on it. Whereas if you can go into your backyard and just grab a leaf, you're going to get a major benefit and a major difference in your health just from eating that way.
Wow.
That is good to know.
So, but then, but if you want to take it a step further and have some fun, there's just about every area of the country. There's a Facebook group called, Wisconsin Foragers, Texas Foraging, the Austin Foragers group, and you can get involved in like the Facebook group. And most of the times, just like anything else in this world, you can find a Facebook group and someone who's really interested
That's so true.
in that particular topic. But they'll usually, we just linked up with people and people brought us out into the woods and showed us the local foraging.
Merriweather is one. They had a guide. He had a guide online, Merriweather Guide or something in Texas. I loved looking at that. I think they even did meetups and stuff, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
when Morgan and
go ahead. Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, when Morgan and I were in the Pacific Northwest, we were at a store and we saw a Pacific Northwest foraging book.
Yeah.
So we bought it, and we were in Skokomish Park, and so we were just looking at and trying to identify all these different plants, and we found salmon berries.
Those were good.
And we got to eat those wild. That was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
It was kind of like reddish, so I was like, "Oh no, it's red." You know, you're not supposed to eat red things.
Oh, it was more orange.
But it was like a pink. Yeah, it was like a pinkish or an orange, yeah, too. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was and also, you know, someone just told us too, if you see a deer eat something in the wild, that it's safe to eat for yourself. Have you heard of that?
Oh, sorry, you broke up right when you said.
Oh no, it's okay. So basically, someone had said that if you eat or if you see a deer eat something in the woods, that it's okay if you it's okay if you eat it. It's like safe for you to eat.
Oh no, I wouldn't say that.
No.
The deer will eat the bark right off the trees. So.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. I'm glad I asked a doctor then, because I literally just was told that like 3 days ago, and I'm like, really? Okay.
Oh yeah, and by no means am I a foraging expert. I have
sure.
very limited experience, but I grew up in the North Woods of Wisconsin, deer hunting, and they eat all sorts of crazy crap that no human should consume. So.
All right, duly noted, Morgan.
Duly noted.
Yeah, right.
That's
I mean,
good.
unless you guys want to like a salt lick, you know, they'll go after a salt lick.
Oh, jeez.
That's funny.
That's great.
That is funny. Do you guys have like is there like a deer population problem up there in Wisconsin? I just ask. It's kind of
Yeah, massive.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
There is an overgrowth, and this is a whole fun conversation too. Overgrowth of food production of corn. So, you know, just the whole Midwest, right, is now they cut down all the forests to grow soy and potatoes and corn. And so the deer have become overpopulated because on the reverse end of that, they killed all the natural predators. They killed all the wolves and all of that kind of stuff.
So they just get to run wild.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll see herds of 50 to 100 deer running in front of you, and cars running into deer actually is the biggest problem with it. Is there's a lot of deaths and a lot of accidents on the road because of deer crashes. So
man, and deer is so good to eat too. I love
right.
venison.
In college, I had a friend who his dad owned a whole bunch of acreage and did deer management on it. So when deer hunting season would come, we would go shoot 3 or 4 deer, and within the first hour of deer hunting season, and just drive out with the tractor, pick them up. And we would eat deer venison all year long. And man, it's so nutritious and so rich flavored and really good for you. Yep.
We would always we would add like fat, I guess, from the butcher to ours.
Yep, beef fat.
Beef fat, yeah. We could like make burgers or whatever, so it'd stick together a little bit better. And we had like Ryan had killed a deer a couple of years ago, and we were processing all of our chickens at the time, and so we were really into just grinding meat and stuff with my KitchenAid, and we had this deer all in pieces like on these big fold out tables in our like nice travertine flooring and
watching
granite
YouTube
counters.
videos how to field dress this thing.
We got like
quarter it.
A deer thigh on one leg or on one table, and then and our kids are coming in and we're like, don't look at this. It's like Dexter. But yeah, so you were saying we were talking about your gut health. Would you say then I agree your health is a really big deal because that's actually why we started getting a hold of you, was because Ryan was having all those problems.
Yeah, I had shingles at the beginning of the year. I had plantar fasciitis in my feet, and then so how it went was I got plantar fasciitis in both my feet at the same time. Then I got shingles, and then while I was laying in bed for about 5 to 7 days with shingles, all I wanted to do was run. I couldn't wait to run. Anybody that knows me knows I do not like running. And I was 275 pounds at that time. And so, man, as soon as I'm done with shingles, I'm running. Got out, was free and clear of shingles, and then went to go run, and boom, plantar fasciitis in both my feet again. And I was like, okay, something's got to change. We got to do something.
And it's all connected, so too many people we unfortunately live in a world of diagnosis first, and we chase a diagnosis. So, I'm chasing one, and then I'm chasing another, and they don't realize the connectiveness of it. Is that if we're chronically dehydrated, right, we're going to have tight muscles. We're going to have different aches and pains all across our body. And so when we get after the aspect of a specific pain, people tend to forget about their overall health. And that's, when we get back into foraging and we get back into the sun and being what it means to be human, then we're not chasing a diagnosis, we're chasing being human. And it's the easy way to start thinking about your health, is that if we get out of the diagnosis mindset, and like what you guys started doing is just the overall, right? You get outside, you get physical work every day.
Sure.
You do those sorts of things, but you don't have to overdo it.
Right.
And you start to approach health from a stress management, a mental component, a water component, a gut health component. Then all of the supposed diagnoses that you have will start to get better.
That's true. That is very true when you think about it.
I know I had to completely relearn how to eat food.
Yeah.
Not how to physically chew, but what my body really needed. I had to break it down into carbs, fats, proteins. What are they? I had to learn all about them again. Understand that my body didn't need to eat 3 times a day because, I guess the FDA, whoever tells you that's the way you're supposed to eat. But I found out for myself personally, I don't need that.
Yeah. Well, not back then. I mean, you had a lot of extra weight, just as I did too, that could just burn off.
But even now, I don't need all this extra food. We eat so much as Americans. We eat all the time. We eat 3 meals a day, and then in between these meals, we're eating snacks, or we're, at a gas station. Let me grab this. Let me grab that. We're just eating maybe 5-6 times. And I remember there was a lot of people that say, oh, yeah, it's good. Have 5-6 meals. It speeds up your metabolism.
I remember that.
And, do you really need all this food, though?
Right.
You don't need a fast metabolism if you're just not scarfing food down your face all day long.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's also the concept, so I think you guys would appreciate this. It's, we're not a bank account. We're a chemistry lab.
Oh,
okay.
That's a good
And
idea.
so you have to think of food as a chemistry reaction in your body and an information channel.
Okay.
So when we think of food that way, calories become irrelevant.
Right.
I've gotten people to lose weight and get rid of all their joint pain by eating 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day.
Okay.
Wow, which is completely sounding ridiculous, right? That's people say you're only supposed to have 2,000 calories a day. Yep.
Yep. And it's purely because their body was starving for nutrition.
Right.
And it was starving for information on how to heal. So when you hear of chronic fatigue and inflammatory conditions, that's your body telling you that it needs more nutrition. And most of the foods that we choose in today's society has no actual nutrition.
Right, absolutely.
It's just big fluffy stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
It's just filler. It's like corn. It's just filler for the cows and for us and for everybody.
Yep.
What do you, just really quick, I heard, so you said nutrient deficient, right? I've been reading articles about the CBD nutrient and how so many people are lacking a cannabinoid nutrient. Have you heard anything about that? Do you know anything about that?
Oh, sorry, you broke up again, right?
No, it's okay. You know what? Chase said that last night too. I kept breaking up. No, I was asking you about the cannabinoid nutrient, the CBD. Have you ever heard about that?
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's another fun long conversation. So here's the basis of it. Is what research has now discovered really in the last 5 to 10 years is that we actually have a whole nother piece of our immune system that we didn't really understand.
Wow.
And that immune system is actually directly related to the cannabidiols, and so it's a separate subset of our immune system.
Wow.
And this is why people are having such great results with CBD oil and that whole realm of things. And without getting specifics on it, it's helping clear out the lymph system and all sorts of other immune-boosting things.
That is so true.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah,
no, I love it.
I didn't know if you were done or not. I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, because my dad, I was giving it to him while he was going through his, had leukemia. It was the DNA. It's like ACL. I don't know. But anyway, it's like something to do with the immune system. And he'd take the CBD oil, and he was the only patient to get out 15 days early with no mouth sores, no nausea or diarrhea.
Kept his weight.
And actually I hadn't given him any in like a month, and he was doing kind of poorly. His mind was kind of getting lost a little bit easier, and he was losing weight.
Yeah.
And then I sent him, I guess, a month ago, and he's been doing great. He said, Mo, don't stop sending me that. I need that. And he notices it immediately when he doesn't. And it's like, 4 or 5 drops in the morning, 4 or 5 drops at night. And I think now that we're doing the research and people are realizing that it doesn't have the THC in it. It's nothing to do with the psychoactive effect. It's literally just a nutrient for all these receptors that we already have, like you had said, and it's an immune issue that he has, and it's clearly has helped his bone marrow take since his transplant, and just everything in general.
Well, when he stopped taking the CBD drops, he started losing his weight. He was getting sick more.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was.
And then you started sending it, and he got the weight back. He started feeling better. His mood was better. His attitude was better. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's a great starting point. And I'd like to point out, too, that there's lots of things. So one is that CBD oil, its most basic form is just a plant extract, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So just like essential oils, just like eating your spices and herbs.
Exactly.
Pepper is a plant extract.
Yes.
And all of these things have massive therapies that we can do, and they have been used for centuries. So even just something as basic as pepper can be used for multiple types of things. And what we're lacking in our society is an understanding that we need these nutrients, and we need the variety of these nutrients. And then on top of that, we're missing the whole CBD oil is a great starting point for people, but they need to use it as a leverage point to start opening up the channels in the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
So food is medicine.
Yeah, food is medicine. And if someone's having great success with CBD oil or essential oils or one of those sorts of things, then that's a clear indication that their body is just starving for nutrients, and that hopefully it only takes one thing, and it doesn't matter what it is, it only takes one thing for someone to start to get a good habit started.
That's true.
And that to start the ball rolling, just like your foot, there's example after example. And unfortunately, in society, we tend to think of, okay, I found my one thing, now I'm done.
Right.
So easy.
Right.
And, like what you guys have done is you've continued to keep the ball rolling, and you've continued the success journey. And that's what it's all about. So, like, if someone comes across CBD oil, they're going to have massive results. It's going to help with a lot of different things.
Sure.
But it's just a starting point. If you're still secluding yourself and sitting on Facebook, 10 hours a day, CBD oil is going to have a limited effect. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's hilarious. Well, that's good though. And then I was going to get back to Ryan's feet though, but we had reached out to you because I had spoken, I think, with Ashley at that point, and I knew that you were a chiropractor and you had some information, and I think you had just kind of started doing your Facebook group, right? Or had you not started? Maybe you just started it. And I remember reaching out to you and saying, "Man, this is going on with Ryan," and you immediately recommended the Vibram 5-finger shoes, I believe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it makes so much sense, with your feet being the foundation of your body.
I think so too.
I never even thought about just having weak feet muscle or a weak foot muscle.
Right.
I guess I never thought about muscles in your feet, but obviously we have them.
Right. Man. It's such a common sense and common brainer. The most common health things, the most common sense health things are the things that are most uncommon.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah.
That is so true.
Because I haven't had any feet problems, no plantar fasciitis at all.
And this solves an age-old debate Ryan and I have had. I've always been barefoot. Anytime, even when we were dating, I was always barefoot walking down gravel roads. And he's like, God, don't your feet hurt? And I'm like, no, I'm used to it, And I'd always be barefoot. And he'd always yell at me, or he'd tell the kids, like, get your shoes on. Don't be like your mom. And it was so great.
Isn't it funny? Yeah.
It is funny because I love being barefoot.
All right, Morgan, you were right.
And so
is this the first time that it's a full admittance that she's right? Like,
it is. It's
on the calendar.
Yep,
it's
absolutely.
Recorded. It's been documented.
It's going to be put out to the world pretty soon.
Everybody will know.
Everybody will know Morgan was right.
But it was great though, because seriously, like I've never really had feet issues. I had ACL reconstruction when I was like 16, and I really think going barefoot helped me because I feel like it helped, if anything, just make everything stronger. But and I even think it helps with like your immune system too, because you kind of get all the germs and stuff.
Totally does, and that's a funny side project that I'm working on. I'm working on a book to make that connection.
How awesome!
That's a topic for another conversation.
Absolutely. I'm excited about this. I think I definitely get one of those copies, and I have it sitting out so Ryan could see, and he can have a picture of like feet that are bare on the ground for the cover.
The fun way to think of it is, how our skin on our hands is like highly sensitized.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can feel things, we can delineate textures.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the bottom of our feet are actually supposed to do.
Oh.
And because we wear shoes almost our whole life, that becomes so desensitized. Our feet are actually meant to be a communication system between us and the ground to tell us when bad things are coming up, if something is sharp around, uneven ground, all of those sorts of things. Like, we wonder why we have sprained ankles in sports. It's because our feet literally have a cast on it, and they don't know when they're hitting the ground.
Wow.
Yeah, see, I have a bad right ankle. I've had an acute fracture in it. I've sprained it I don't know how many times.
That's right. You would always roll your ankle.
Yeah, and I hate to say it now, me knock on wood, but, I have not rolled my ankle since wearing those 5 fingers.
Yeah. He had to take it easy too. He couldn't do it like, as often as I could because his feet muscles were a lot weaker than mine. He actually never could spread his toes.
I can do that now.
Yeah.
He thought I was a freak, man. I'd be like all monkey fingers, and he never could, and now he can. He can spread his toes.
And he was the freak at that time.
He was.
I was the freak.
He was the freak.
Look, guys, I got it. I was wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
that's great.
That's funny. That's good.
Yeah, you should be able to. So when we look across indigenous tribes that still don't have shoes, and there's actually quite a few cultures that don't have shoes yet, their feet are about 20% wider than people who wear shoes.
Really?
And so, our feet are actually designed. They're supposed to be like duck feet. They're supposed to be webbed outwards, like our big toe is supposed to be pointing out, and our little toe is supposed to be pointing out.
Oh.
And
I didn't know
it's
that.
purely because of the design of shoes that our toes are actually pointed in.
Very interesting.
Huh. Learning all kinds of things right now.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Your wife is
but
right.
That's why plantar fasciitis is a $340 billion industry.
Oh.
It's insane when you start to see that per year, knee replacements and hip replacements, which are all attributed basically to people who don't know how to move their joints. It's because they don't get that communication from their foot. So 1 million joint replacements are happening per year. 2 million people per year are getting diagnosed with plantar fasciitis.
Wow.
It's an insane stat. And then on top of it, the orthotic industry is now in the billions. The shoe industries are now in the billions.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're selling you the products that are making it worse. Orthotics make plantar fasciitis temporary pain relief, but they make it worse in the long run.
Oh my
So are you saying that it's free to fix all of these and all you have to do is take your shoes off?
Yeah.
Is it that simple?
It sounds crazy. Call me the crazy person.
But is it really that simple?
In a nutshell, it is that simple. And, you know, unfortunately, if the damage is already done, so if you have bunions and plantar fasciitis and things like that, most people have to go through a program. And this is where I have 3-month programs designed for people that are all about reinvigorating the feet. Because it is, right, if you're 35 years old, you've basically had 30 years of being in shoes.
Wow.
Right.
And so you have to unwind that a little bit.
That's true.
Yeah, and so it's a process, and some people it happens right away. I'd say about 10% of the population. They just switch into a more natural shoe, and they immediately get all pain relief, and their joints feel good, their back feels good, they can start running, and all of that stuff right away.
Are flip-flops bad for your feet?
Yeah, flip-flops do the same thing. They make you squeeze your toes together, especially the thong sandals. So if you there's a couple of companies like Luna Sandals and Xero shoes.
Yeah, we had the
They
Xero
make
shoes.
more functional sandals that are strapped around the ankle as opposed to making you squeeze your big toes.
Okay.
But yeah, there again, you're not, you know, the reason why I love Vibram so much is the ability for the individual toes to contract and feel the ground.
That's what I like.
If you step on a rock, your toes can separate.
Yes, I agree. That's the only thing I didn't like about my Xero shoes is like, I don't know, I just felt like I was flopping around like
It's
sometimes.
still a flat, it's still a flat sole shoe. It's better than a normal shoe because there's way less cushioning in there. You can feel the ground better and all of those sorts of good things. But you still can't get that natural separation.
And I can understand.
The Vibrams did that for me.
Yeah.
They spread my toes.
Yeah.
And that felt weird in the beginning because I remember I was the weird guy that couldn't spread his toes. So yeah.
But I get why you would need to have like a program. You know, I totally understand that because a lot of people are different.
Look down at most people's feet and their toes are pointed inwards and they have the start of bunions and hammer toes. And all of those are a shoe problem. It's not a tendon problem that needs to be cut. It's not, you don't need another metal rod in your body to straighten out your toe.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's what they do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the common surgeries are they go in there and they shave a portion of the bone off and stick a metal rod in it and straighten your toe out.
That seems
The
intense.
hammer toe things is they go in there and literally just with the scissors cut a tendon.
Oh
my God. What is hammer toe?
It's where the little guys kind of stick up weird.
Okay.
Oh.
You know, and so you get them rubbing on the top of your shoe and different things that way.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Oh man, we had a friend that had really bad calloused feet, but just because he never like cleaned them, I guess.
Oh,
but,
yep.
Man, his calluses on his heels were so bad. His wife had to replace their sheets like every month.
Yeah.
He would rub a hole in them. She's like, I'm so pissed. I'm spending all this money on these silk and satin sheets.
He's just ripping them with his bear claws.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh man, yeah. He didn't have nice feet. But I think he could if he would have went barefoot for a little while. He probably could have rubbed them calluses off with some concrete work or something.
Yeah, he could have probably walked on the Arizona asphalt in the summertime.
Yeah.
Not felt it.
So you guys, y'all are in Austin, Texas now, which is awesome because we lived near there in Georgetown for or it was in Granger, but near Georgetown for a few years, 5 years, I guess.
The full circle.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
And there's such great homeschool groups there too.
Great homeschool laws in Texas.
And we just got into a house. We sold our bus. We
nice.
stayed in an RV park for a little while to figure out where we wanted to go in Austin. We landed in South Austin.
Nice. That's awesome. And how was it moving into your house being a minimalist now and like literally having no running water or electricity? You probably felt like kings and queens. Like, look at us and all of our money and our water and our electricity.
we're in the Emperor's Palace now.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we still, right, we learned our lessons, so we don't, everything that we're doing here is from a health standpoint. So
nice.
We have no chairs, we have no furniture. I put yoga mats on the ground so that we can stretch wherever we want. There's foam rollers everywhere.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's we even have better lighting.
Nice.
Getting the red lighting is just a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say you wear those glasses.
Yeah, what are those glasses? You always have them on.
Yeah, the yellow sunglasses, right?
Yeah, those are blue blockers.
Yes.
They block the blue light.
I knew it.
What is the point of that?
To block the blue light, duh.
But what? I just said it. So why do you need to, or why do we need to block blue lights?
Right, yeah, I gotta give you a hard time.
Oh, I love it.
He likes it.
I walked right into that one.
He did.
So picture the sun.
Okay.
And when the sun comes up in the full day, it's like super bright out, right? And we feel really good from that.
Sure.
And then when the sun starts to go down, you know how it kind of turns reddish?
Right.
And we see these cool sunsets. And it's just very calming and relaxing.
Right.
That's actually a chemical reaction that's happening in our brain because of the light.
Really?
And so, yeah, at midday, blue light is the biggest and fullest, and that's what tells our body that it's midday, that we're supposed to be bright and awake. And at the end of the night, that red light lets our brain know that we're supposed to be getting ready for bed. And so it starts to release the melatonin in our brain and just different things that way. It's how we know our rhythm. Well, now enter in technology, and we have artificial blue lights. So that's what LED lights are, blue.
Right.
So any especially like in a bus, everyone uses LED lights.
Yeah.
It's LEDs are the reason why they're so energy efficient is because of the blue lights. It's easier to make. Doesn't cost as much energy. So anyway, the point being is that when you switch over to a red light, and it's got to be an actual red light, you can get red LED lights. You have to get it in the red, blue, green spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
Not the full spectrum. So you can get fake, like Christmas lights are a fake red light. That's not an actual red LED light. But when you get the red LED lights, it doesn't irritate you. It doesn't say to your brain that, hey, it's midday. Now, obviously, I'm on computers and things like that past some, if I'm standing in front of a computer during the day or at night especially, I wear even a thicker blue blocker. And that's simply to block that blue light out so that my brain doesn't get overstimulated.
Okay.
That's really cool. I think that's why I got migraines a lot when I worked in the corporate life.
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, it gives people migraines, low-grade chronic fatigue issues.
They would give us those, like, these screen blockers to put over our computer screen to just make them lighter or whatever, and all we had to do was buy some yellow glasses.
Yep.
That's great. I think I would get some because I do a lot of computer work, on our social media and stuff and editing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I can totally see the benefit for sure.
We'll have to call up Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Amazon.
Yeah, it makes the day, like anytime I have heavy computer work, I just have to have them on now.
Really?
Yeah, otherwise I'd be like, you can actually work a lot longer when you block out the blue light. It's really crazy.
Huh.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, I always wondered what the glasses were for. So thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're, even at night, we have we replaced all of our light bulbs. with remote controlled lights that we
Nice.
can turn them to any color.
Okay.
So at 7 o'clock, our whole house turns red.
Okay.
You're like, are they watching horror movies in there? What's going
Yeah,
on?
we're some sort of crazy drug dealer. Yeah, there's weird people on the street.
It's the local trap house.
Oh my
Yep.
god.
Oh, geez.
They don't have furniture either. It's crazy there.
Yep.
And you
Shoes
guys
hanging on the.
Oh, geez.
hanging on the telephone pole outside. You guys and you guys homeschool too, right? I see you guys posting
Yeah,
homeschool stuff
yeah.
all the time. I love that. You know, you guys always capture them learning, you know, just on things just doing what they want to do is what's even cooler.
Yeah.
And a lot of
we
parents just
unschool.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. I love that. A lot of parents get really anal about what their kids are learning, and it's like, man, kids are ready to learn all
Or
the
they
time.
think that it's just a homeschool in a box, or
Yeah.
no, you have to get away from
Right.
that. Absolutely, yeah. Unschool your kids.
And you have to unschool yourself in a way first. Did you find that hard, Dave? Just yeah, I was gonna say, just use a doctor. You've been in school for like ever, right? It's hard.
Yeah, I was bred thoroughbred to go to school. Yep.
Yeah. No, me too. Me too. And it was really, I had a schedule. I had a timer when I first started 4 years ago. I had 6 subjects a day. I had a timer going off. I was so stressed.
Oh, geez, yeah.
It was ridiculous. And then it took me like 2 years, 3, I guess, to really
Yeah,
start
and meeting
letting
other
go.
moms and parents
Yeah.
that homeschooled that
Yeah.
taught us about unschooling. We had never heard of that before.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, we went straight into that. We've
That's
never
awesome.
done a curriculum or anything like that. And
Wow.
it was
That's
purely
awesome.
because when we did our research, you're just looking at what is the purpose of educating them. And when you look at that and you look at what society has to offer right now, with the use of the internet and the ability to create a life, anyone, doesn't matter your disability
Yep.
or your background or whatever kind of adversity you want to make as an excuse,
Oh, yes.
everyone can be successful in today's society no matter what.
Absolutely.
And it just requires drive, grit, and determination, and the fortitude to continue to learn what you want to learn.
And YouTube.
And so that's what we teach our kids. It's just, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You just have to not be unfocused. You have to focus
Be
on it.
hungry enough to go out and find that knowledge. It's 2018. I mean, we learned how to build a bus from YouTube.
Yeah, right.
If we needed to learn how to build cabinets, I'd go to YouTube University. How to build cabinets.
Somebody just asked me today, they were asking me about my podcast, someone I went to high school with. Like, well, hey, I might want to start one. How did you learn to even use all this equipment? And I'm like, YouTube? You can learn anything on YouTube. And I think that's the main
Forums,
thing, too.
research.
With kids, like, school does not have to be in a classroom. And
Right.
I was literally going to school forever. I was kind of deferring my student loans, but I was like taking history classes all year long. I was going for my master's degree, and then I quit that and I jumped into these other classes. And then when I lost my job, I had no hobbies. I didn't even know what the hell I wanted to do, because I was so, yes.
You had been fed everything.
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't know how to learn outside of even an online classroom. Like, I needed to do a paper. You know what I mean? I needed to write APA format or something. It was crazy. And then I finally was like, I think I want to learn. I mean, I can't say that. Oh, hold on. We did have the homestead and stuff, but I didn't really get to embrace it. And
you didn't put those two puzzle pieces together.
Not yet.
You didn't understand that you didn't, you just go to Amazon, buy a book.
That's true.
Right.
Go to Barnes and Nobles, buy a book.
Yeah. It was so stupid, right? It's so basic.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And we always overcomplicate everything.
Exactly, and it's as simple when we're teaching our kids. It's first of all, we communicate with them, we talk to them, and then they ask questions, and instead of giving them the answer, we make them look it up. So
right.
How awesome.
Even though like our younger one can't read or spell or she can kind of spell and write now, but
sure.
A year ago she couldn't.
Sure.
But like you press a button on a tablet and they can speak to it.
Yes.
And it brings up anything you want on YouTube. So like these random conversations come up, like, oh, why did we pee?
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
simple things.
you can look
Yeah.
up kidneys and like,
Yeah.
you know, my kids have seen cadavers. They've
Nice.
seen the whole world.
Yeah.
Our daughter's
purely because
learning about the heart right
they
now.
wanted.
Right.
Yeah, cool.
Because they
Yep.
were interested in it. Absolutely.
Yep.
We didn't make our daughter learn about the heart. She just, like you said, went online, started learning about the heart. So
Yeah.
she started drawing doodles and,
Diagrams.
this is what this artery's called. This one, this is how this is all connected. And so she'll come in and give us a presentation about it. We never asked her to do that.
No.
She just took it upon herself. Like you said, they were hungry enough to go out and learn.
And I noticed, too, when they teach each other, too.
Kids ask the most amazing questions.
Yes, they do.
They have the most curious minds.
Yes,
Yes,
very
they
inquisitive.
do.
And we're very honest with our kids. We don't lie to them about anything.
No.
If they come up and ask us a question, we feel like it is our duty as parents
Yeah.
to give them an honest answer, not hide them, not protect them from anything. You asked it, here's what it is.
Yeah, we make it as, as age appropriate, as possible. Like, of course, when that question came up, where do babies come from? I was so embarrassed, I think, when that question was asked because I just wasn't ready for it.
But you handled it great.
I did. I handled it pretty well.
Yeah.
That was, where do babies come from and how do they get there,
Yeah.
You use scientific terms, we used what it was called and everything. And I actually, you know what I did? I showed them a scene from Look Who's Talking, the opening scene whenever the sperm were going to the birth canal and they're all talking to each other. And they were like, hey, dude, let's get in this egg. And like, I'm like, this is the best way I can show you like what it's doing. And it was funny, and they're like, oh, okay, I get it, and then like no questions for like a year or two. And then the question would come up again. And then, I would just adjust and like, hey, remember this? Okay, well, this happens. And then usually they're like, okay, that's enough. I don't want to hear anymore. I'm grossed out. I'm good. I'm good
till next year.
Of course, mine are a little bit older now, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as far as you guys being in Austin now, what's the plan? Like, what are you doing? I know you said y'all are focusing on your health, and I see you guys. What's the Facebook group again that you have?
Well, yeah. So we're focusing on our journey instead of a big end result. So
very nice.
Instead of having what a formal business would be.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm starting off with just helping people with their feet, and whatever that turns into, it turns into. So I have a Facebook group, and I think you guys can put the link to that.
Yes,
it's just Foot Pain Solutions, and then I have my Dr. Dave Heitmann public profile. Those are like the two ways that people can find me.
Good.
And then I'm just about to launch. By the time this podcast gets released, I'll have it all put together. I'm actually putting together a free kit for people to get activated in that foot process that we talked about.
Nice, beautiful.
Yeah, reinvigorating the feet, and it's a free gift. The people go on there and they just pay for shipping and handling, and it's a system, so toe spacers, where it gets the bottom of the foot stimulated, it gets the muscles stimulated, and that's where 99% of pain comes from. So literally it's aimed at getting people out of pain really fast so that they can start to get back to their health. So I will have that as a link as well. That's going to be DIYfootkit.com. And that should be available by the time this podcast is released.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So shortly.
Hey, that's great. Yeah. So this is going to go out on a Friday, so next Friday. And you guys definitely head over to those. We'll have the links below in the description. And so you guys you said you sold the bus. You guys are in Austin, Texas. So, what are you guys doing? Like, you're focusing on your website and stuff and just living life and enjoying the journey?
Yep.
That's awesome.
I at least go for an hour walk every day now.
Oh, very nice.
I spend time with the kids, and then I work out on top of that.
Nice.
And we focus on cooking here. Ashley got a job doing medical billing.
Oh,
That's
nice.
what she did in my office as well. So she's doing that as just kind of Funny, well, one, we needed it to claim proof that we're not crazy, that we could actually get into a rental.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, you still got to check some boxes. That's true.
Yeah, you got to check some boxes. But we're working as fast as we can to get her back home again.
Sure.
And I'll support her through that. And we're still doing fun things. We use a lot of essential oils in our life, and we like sharing about that.
And Ashley sells those. Ashley does the Young Living oils.
Yeah, Young Living. Yep.
Yes.
And it's by far, it took me a lot of years to pick which essential oils I like. But
yes.
Going back to that whole farming thing, they are the source. They do restorative soil practices and agriculture practices. And so their ingredients are actually a lot more in-depth. So on average, going back to kind of the CBD oil conversation, both CBD oils and essential oils, if the plant is grown in crappy soil, it doesn't have a lot of the good for you healing chemicals.
Right.
I agree.
And so you have to be aware of the source, because an essential oil can have up to anywhere like 250 different ingredients in one oil bottle.
Ugh.
And if it's not grown in the right soil, you may only be getting 50 of those.
That is so true.
Each of those chemicals are responsible for a healing component. And so whether it's CBD oil, olive oil, coconut oil,
sure,
the source really matters to get the nutrients that you need.
Right.
So that's why we picked Young Living, is because they have what I believe is one of the better farming systems.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point. I remember I read this book. It was one of the most boring books I ever read, but it was a great book. It was called Teeming with Soil. With
Microbes.
Or Teeming with Microbes. Yeah, Teeming as in T-E-A-M. So, yeah, you know the book. And that was the book that taught me, if you want to grow anything, you have to grow your soil before you grow any kind of edible food. Yeah, grow your soil. Because exactly what you just described, that, you could grow anything in just crappy soil, but you're missing out on a lot of these nutrients. So, or microorganisms.
And you guys might you might want to look at it, since y'all are in Austin, and I think it's near Bee Cave. There's a guy, he runs a farm. It's Hannah Farms?
Leigh?
Hannah Leigh Farms.
I think Hannah Leigh Farms.
It's an aquaponics farm. That's where we actually got our design idea for or he helped us with our bell siphon.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about agua dulce?
No, just like aquaponic farming with fish and fish poop and stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of those around here now.
Oh,
nice.
Okay. Yeah, there's he actually supplies all the restaurants in Austin with basil.
Yep.
And I think dinosaur kale. Yeah, his tilapia just do basil and dinosaur kale, but yeah, I'm sure there probably is a ton, because they had like 2 hydro stores, I think, when we were down there doing our system.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, there were quite a few people, and I think they even had little aquaponics systems set up that Rob actually set up for them.
Yes, he did.
But yeah, I mean, anyway, those are really cool facilities to tour, just to see how that's all done. And I remember when we started farming that way with fish poop, a lot of people were like, what? But at the same time, we were feeding them fish feed. So we had wanted to get into, what was that we were going to grow? Duckweed. And it's like that algae on top, where they're supposed to just eat it. But we could never get it to grow.
We needed more sun.
Oh, yeah, we probably did need more sun. But we were definitely trying to do more natural things.
We were trying to close the loop in this cycle of aquaponics, because the only break in the chain was the fish food.
Yeah.
And so if we would have been able to get them to initially start eating duckweed, they would have continued the fish to eat that duckweed, and then we would have closed the loop, and forever it would have just continued to pump out produce.
And I think that's what a lot of farmers miss, is that the soils are so overworked in so many places. They're farming the same thing.
They're losing inches of topsoil every single year.
Yeah, they're tilling every single year instead of allowing those microorganisms in the soil to actually reproduce and grow and
create more topsoil.
Yeah. I think Ryan he used to make compost tea for a while, and we wanted to sell it. We were going to call it crab's juice.
That's That's right. I forgot about that.
It was hard though, because if you put it in like a milk gallon, his friend worked at actually, what was the restaurant Marshall's parents own?
Oh, I don't remember.
Crap, it's Smokey's Barbecue maybe there in Georgetown. But
Sounds
anyway,
right.
it's really good. But yeah, he got us all these like milk jugs because they sell sweet tea there. And so Ryan was going to start bottling this compost tea, but the microbes will die,
Yep.
within like 24 hours because they need to be circulated and they need to have oxygen and all these things. So like even if we were selling it to somebody, that's kind of a business we would have had to just like have a huge thing of, I don't know, something that constantly circulated it and drive up to people's yards and like spray it, I guess.
Right.
So that business idea fell through, but it was a start,
You just needed to switch over to the red worms.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The red wiggle. We did that actually.
We
the
threw
red
those in the
wigglers.
aquaponics system in the grow beds.
Yeah.
They would eat all of the root matter, and then when they poop, you have worm castings, and that is great resource. Black gold.
We had the great red wiggler escape
That's
happen.
right.
We had them in a big compost bin that we made in our garage, and we didn't have the greens and the brown mix correctly, or it was too wet. They didn't like it, and they hauled ass out of that thing. And I don't know how they got out because it was pretty much sealed. But you would see little bodies across the garage floor all the way out to the yard. And I'm not kidding you, Dave. I'm not kidding you. 2 years later, we had these hellacious rains, and we probably had water up to like above our ankles in our 3 acres that we had. And I thought I saw a white snake. And I grabbed that thing because I'm a coon ass and I grab things out of the ground like that. I was like, what is that? And I snatched it up. And it was and I have a picture of this. If you look up Texas earthworm or Texas white snake, whatever, it's on. My picture's probably on there. But this worm was like 6 feet long. I don't know, maybe 4 feet long. And it was a freaking red. It was one of, I swear to God, it was one of ours. It had to have been one of ours. But I thought it was a snake. Yeah, I thought it was a stinking snake because that soil was so depleted. When we read that book, we realized how much the farmers do over farm it. We finally got our soil tested, and it was like no nitrogen, no phosphorus, nothing. Like there was nothing there at all. We planted 50 trees to like die. It was awful. Or next time I'll test my soil.
Right. Yeah, it's hard down here because not only is the weather not all favorable to do soil restoration, they do a lot of spraying of chemicals down here.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. I hate that. I wish they would get out of that. I think a lot of people would get healthier if they stopped doing that. That's for sure. Well, I will tell you, is there anything, Dave, anything that you wanted to, any tips or advice that you wanted to give anybody that's listening, that might be listening, that maybe what they'll benefit from your programs and stuff from?
Yeah. This is can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This is always my podcast. I do quite a few podcasts with for different reasons. And this is always my advice, is that you are in control of your own destiny, and you have to keep saying that, is that if you're not happy in your job right now, you're in control of that. If you're not happy with where you live and you complain about the snow, you're in control of that. If you're not happy with your health, you're in control of that. And so just keep telling yourself you're in control of your own destiny, and you can make massive decisions because they're really not that massive.
Right.
Once you get started, you start to realize that change can actually be easy. It's the fear of change that's the hardest.
Wow, that is true.
That is true. People are afraid of change.
Yeah.
I would say that your schoolie kids, just your kids in general are probably so adaptable. Just so ready and open.
Right.
And it's a great quality though, because the only thing constant in life is change. I don't know. But yeah, well, I guess, as far as everything else goes, was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think we're good.
Hey, I had such a good time talking to you.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
learned so much. I can't wait for my family to listen. Yeah, you said you did other podcasts. Do you want to list them on here?
Oh, I'll show up as guests on people. I don't have a podcast right now.
You should totally
right
get
now.
one.
You said. So are you thinking about doing one?
Yeah.
No, not in any plans. It's right, because you have to control the amount of stress and work.
Hey,
Absolutely.
that's so true.
Yep. So I've been down that whole route where I was running 2 different businesses, and I had podcasts, and I had email systems, and I had all of that kind of crap. And
it's a lot.
Once I start having a team behind me and people working with me for the greater common cause, then it makes sense to have a podcast and
sure
for me to dive into that. But I've got so many other things going on right now.
Absolutely.
So you learned your lesson.
Too much in the bucket. Yep, exactly.
That's
Nothing
good.
wrong with that.
And I notice sometimes it is hard to be like when you see people so busy and like and we see it a lot on this Christmas tree lot. People are here, supposed to be with their families and spending time with their families when they're on their phone the whole time.
Yep.
And
Very short with their children.
Oh yeah, like their kids are singing Christmas carols and they're like yelling at them, and I'm just like, this is beautiful. Like, do you not see how sweet this sounds? How can you yell at them?
We were tying a tree on somebody's car. I think it was last night.
Yeah, it was last night.
And there was 2 little kids, maybe, what would you say, how old were
Like
they?
8 and 7.
Okay.
I don't know, young.
And what song were they singing?
Here Comes Santa Claus.
Yep, they were skipping around us as we were tying this tree off, and they were just
caroling.
It
was so sweet.
Here Comes Santa Claus. And no joke, right after they left, me and Morgan, we were just whistling that tune.
I
Here
know,
comes
it was
Santa
stuck
Claus,
in my
here comes
head.
Santa.
It was
Yeah.
sweet.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's one of the best parts about this lot that we do is just to get to see the kids run around, in the little fake forest that we create for them. And their parents are like, no, don't run. No, let them run. Let them get tired. They'll fall asleep in the car.
Exactly. It's not like there's a lot of trees here in Arizona. I mean, there are some national forests, but there's not always a place for kids to go run around in the trees, even if they are dead.
Right.
And we're trying to make them pretend that they're alive. It's kind of slow torture for these poor things. But yeah, but you know what? We're going to have to get together with you guys when we're in Texas next. You and Ashley, y'all are just really cool people. I always enjoy talking to Ashley on the phone and doing the classes with her.
Yeah, we'll have over.
Yeah, we'll get a yoga mat for me. We'll do some stretches.
Yep. And we still have the travel bug, so don't worry. We're just going to do it differently. When we go to do it, we're probably going to do it Airbnb style. The next round of travel.
Heck yeah, man. Oh, have you heard of this thing called Workaway?
Yep.
Have you? Okay, I was like, man, that's kind of cool for I was thinking of college kids or something that want to go travel and see the world and work a little bit. That seems really cool. Really cool. So that's awesome. So, well, we hope we get to see you guys on the road for sure, or even if we're in Texas, that would be great. And I hope everybody listening, I'll have the links below on the podcast for all of Dr. Dave's Facebook groups and his new website that he's got coming out. Right? Have you launched the website yet, or it will be launched when it comes out?
It should be launched tomorrow. So we're
awesome.
all good.
Awesome.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so y'all head over there, check out that free gift he was talking about, help with your foot health. And I know a lot of people I know that are going to listen to this and learn a ton.
I learned a ton.
Yeah, I love your videos too, by the way. You do some really great videos on your Facebook feed and a lot of live videos.
Yeah, you're very interactive.
Yes, I love it. Your personality, just everything. I mean, you have a really great energy. Yeah, and
that sounds dangerous.
It could be dangerous, but a good thing. It could be a really good thing. And it seems like you found your groove. It seems like you guys are doing really well. And
well, thank you. Yeah, you guys too. This has been fun.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you
Dave.
for coming on.
We really
greatly
appreciate that. Yeah, it's
for
been
sure.
awesome.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, bye. See you soon.
Take care. We're coming to you from our 49 square foot podcast studio, 100% powered by solar in our Skoolie Chitty Bang.
You can find our shenanigans online at thecrabshomestead.com and Talkin' Chitty on Facebook and Instagram. You can also follow our Skoolie Life on Facebook at Chitty Bang Skoolie and Instagram at The Crabs Homestead.